Have you ever wondered why some men seem to disappear when you need them most, yet suddenly reappear when you've stopped looking for them? Today you'll discover a transformative truth that will forever change the dynamics of your relationships, and the best part is, you can apply it starting right now. When a woman stops chasing, something magical happens in the male mind. This is the starting point for becoming truly magnetic and irresistible. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you felt that overwhelming need to send a message, to call, to seek some response or sign from him? That very energy of pursuit is paradoxically what pushes him further away from you. Louise Hay teaches us that like attracts like. When you project neediness, you inevitably attract more situations that reinforce that lack. It's a universal law you cannot escape. Remember the last time you found yourself obsessively checking your phone, waiting for a response, feeling that knot in your stomach that only grows with each minute of silence. Does that feel familiar? That anxiety is precisely the energy you're releasing into the universe, and the universe, true to its nature, returns more of the same to you, more waiting, more anxiety, more distance. The truth is that men can sense this energy. They don't need you to explain in words that you desperately need them. Your behavior, your messages, the frequency of your calls, everything communicates exactly what you're feeling. And here's the first powerful key. When you stop chasing, you don't do it as a manipulative strategy, you do it as an act of self-love. Louise Hay constantly reminds us that everything we give out comes back to us. This is a profound truth that applies perfectly to relationships. When you give space, you also receive it. When you offer freedom, freedom returns to you. When you stop controlling, paradoxically, you gain more control over your own life and emotions. Do this exercise right now. Think about the last situation where you felt that uncontrollable impulse to reach out to someone. Now take a deep breath and repeat these words. I love myself enough to give myself space. I respect myself enough not to chase. I am complete within myself. I deserve to be sought after, not to be the one who seeks. Repeat this affirmation every morning in front of the mirror and every night before sleeping. You'll see how, little by little, your energy begins to transform. Have you noticed that the people who attract the most aren't those constantly seeking attention, but those focused on their own growth and happiness? It's not a coincidence. It's the perfect manifestation of another universal law. When you focus on your own light, you illuminate the path for others to find you. This is the moment to understand that when you stop sending constant messages, when you stop being always available, when you stop being the first to make contact, you're not playing hard to get. You're honoring your value. You're establishing an energetic precedent that communicates, I am valuable and deserve to be sought after. And believe me, this energy is precisely what makes a man start thinking about you, wondering where you are, what you're doing, and why you no longer seem to need him like before. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more content that will transform your life and relationships from the root. Remember that not chasing doesn't mean completely disappearing or playing emotional games. It means responding with the same energy you receive, always keeping your dignity intact. It means not investing emotionally more than the other person is willing to invest. It means above all maintaining your personal power. Louise Hay teaches us that the point of power is always in the present moment. That means right now, in this instant, you have the power to change the dynamic of any relationship simply by changing your own energy. You don't need explanations, long conversations, or ultimatums. You only need to decide that, from now on, your valuable energy will not be wasted on those who don't fully appreciate it. And believe me, when you begin to live from this place of personal power, something extraordinary happens. The person who previously ignored your messages begins to wonder why they're no longer receiving them. The person who previously took you for granted begins to feel your absence, and that's what we'll talk about in the next point. When a woman learns to put her needs first, she becomes magnetic. This is a truth as profound as it is revolutionary. We've been taught for generations that being a good woman means always being available, always being understanding, always putting the needs of others above our own. But Louise Hay reminds us that self-love is the foundation of our existence. Without it, everything else eventually crumbles. Think for a moment. How many times have you cancelled plans that were important to you just because he called at the last minute? How many times have you reorganized your entire schedule to adapt to his? How many times have you set aside your own dreams, your own needs, your own well-being to prioritize someone who doesn't do the same for you? The uncomfortable truth is that men don't miss someone who's always available. It's a simple law of emotional economics. We value more what is scarce, what requires effort, what we cannot take for granted. When you're always available, regardless of the hour, day, or circumstance, you're indirectly communicating that your time isn't valuable, that you don't have a full life of your own, that he is the center of your universe. Louise Hay teaches us that the point of power is always in the present moment. When you use your present time to nurture your dreams, care for your body, cultivate your friendships, expand your mind, something magical happens. You become someone who radiates fullness, and that fullness is irresistibly attractive. Now, let's understand something fundamental. We're not talking about pretending to have a busy life to manipulate someone. We're talking about really building a life so rich and full that, although a romantic relationship would be a beautiful complement, it's not a desperate necessity. This distinction is crucial. The most common mistake I see in so many women is believing that to keep a man interested, they must always be available, must respond immediately, must modify their plans at the first call. But the reality is exactly the opposite. Think about someone you truly admire. It could be a friend, a mentor, a public figure. Is this person someone who abandons their commitments for others? Or is it someone with purpose, who values their time and has clear priorities? The answer is evident. Louise Hay reminds us that when we truly love ourselves, everything in our life works. This includes, of course, our relationships. When you commit to yourself first, you establish a standard. And people, especially men, respect standards. It's a basic rule of male psychology. They respect what they cannot easily control. Have you noticed that when a woman has her life in order, pursues her dreams, takes care of her physical and emotional well-being, and doesn't depend on external validation to feel complete, she immediately becomes much more attractive? It's not just a perception, it's a reality. Independence is magnetic. Try this exercise. Establish at least 3 weekly activities that are exclusively for you. It could be a class in something you've always wanted to learn, a solitary walk to connect with nature, reading time with your favorite book, or simply moments of calm to meditate and connect with yourself. The important thing is that they are activities that truly nourish your soul. Now here comes the crucial part. Protect these spaces as if they were extremely important work meetings, because they are. They are appointments with yourself. During these moments, silence notifications and focus solely on your well-being. And if someone, especially a romantic interest, tries to intervene in these moments, communicate kindly but firmly. I have an important commitment. Can we meet? Talk tomorrow afternoon. Repeat to yourself daily. My needs are important. My time is valuable. I give myself permission to prioritize myself. I deserve this space for me. You'll see that after a few weeks, not only will you feel better physically and emotionally, but something extraordinary will begin to happen. The people around you, including that special man, will begin to organize their schedule around yours, not the other way around. They'll start asking you in advance when you're available, instead of assuming you always will be. They'll begin to value the moments with you more, because now they are scarcer and therefore more precious. Because when you value yourself, he values you too. When you respect your time, he respects it too. When you establish that you are a priority in your own life, he receives that message clearly and acts accordingly. The power of putting your needs first not only makes you more attractive, but it sets the tone for the entire relationship. And here's the truth that will change everything. When you begin to live this way, prioritizing yourself, nurturing your well-being, pursuing your dreams, Men not only respect you more, but they begin to miss you in a completely different way. It's not the superficial longing based on habit, but a deep longing based on admiration. They miss you not just for how you make them feel, but for who you are. They miss you because your presence in their lives adds value, inspiration, and a touch of magic they don't find in others. And that's what we'll talk about in the next point. Silence is your greatest power. This is a truth as ancient as it is powerful. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, heard, and constantly validated, the woman who knows how to remain silent possesses an extraordinary advantage. Louise Hay has always spoken about the power of our words, but sometimes the real power lies in the words not spoken. Think about this. Every time you speak, you reveal something about yourself. But every time you remain silent, you create a space that invites the other to wonder what you're thinking, what you're feeling, who you really are behind that silence. Mystery is an essential ingredient in attraction, especially for the male mind. The mistake so many women make is sharing too much, too soon. In an effort to connect, to be transparent, to show they have nothing to hide, they speak without filter about their dreams, fears, past experiences, future plans, insecurities, expectations. And without realizing it, they eliminate all mystery. It's as if they opened a book and showed all its pages at once, instead of allowing it to be discovered chapter by chapter. Men are hunters by nature. This isn't just a cliché, it's a deeply rooted psychological reality. They enjoy the process of discovery. They feel satisfaction when they gradually get to know the different layers of a woman. When you deliver everything in the first conversations, when you tell your entire life story on the first date, when you reveal your deepest wounds before there's a real bond of trust, there's nothing left to discover, and what is easily obtained is easily forgotten. Has it happened to you that after sharing your entire life with someone, they suddenly seem to lose interest? As if that person who couldn't stop sending you messages suddenly responds with monosyllables, or worse yet, disappears without explanation. It's not a coincidence. It's the natural result of having eliminated the mystery too soon. Mystery is magnetic. The woman who maintains a certain level of reserve, who doesn't tell everything about herself, who leaves spaces for the imagination, is the one who stays in a man's mind long after saying goodbye. She's the one who makes him wonder what other treasures she holds inside, what other surprises he might discover if he stays by her side. Louise Hay teaches us that what we think about ourselves becomes the truth for us. If you believe you need to tell everything to be accepted, that you need to show yourself completely vulnerable from the start to ensure someone stays, that will be your reality. You'll surround yourself with people who expect total access to your inner world without having proven they deserve it. But if you know deep inside that you are valuable and deserve to be discovered little by little, like the treasure you are, that will be your new truth. You'll attract people who enjoy the process of getting to know you, who value each new revelation, who feel privileged, not entitled, to access your inner world. Silence is not only powerful in the early stages of getting to know someone, it's equally powerful in an established relationship. The woman who knows how to remain silent when a conflict arises, who doesn't need to have the last word, who doesn't feel the need to explain every emotion or thought, maintains an aura of mystery even after years with the same person. Here's a practical exercise that will transform your way of communicating. For the next week, practice the art of the brief response. When asked about your day, instead of giving a detailed minute-by-minute report, share only what's most relevant or significant. When asked about your past, be authentic but selective. Share enough to keep the conversation flowing, but always leaving the feeling that there's more to discover. It's not necessary to lie, simply don't feel the obligation to reveal every detail, every thought, every emotion. Keep some parts of yourself as a treasure that only the most persistent, the most patient, those who truly prove they deserve it, will have the privilege of discovering. And repeat this affirmation daily. I am a woman with depth and mystery. I don't need to reveal everything to be valued. My essence is discovered with time and effort. What I keep for myself makes me more, not less, magnetic. Have you noticed how the most intriguing people in any social environment are generally those who speak the least? It's not a coincidence. Their silence creates a space that invites others to approach, to ask, to want to know more. While everyone competes to be heard, they observe, analyze, carefully choose their words. And when they finally speak, everyone listens. Apply this same principle to your digital communications. In a world where many live broadcasting every thought, every meal, every activity in real time, the woman who maintains a certain reserve immediately stands out. You don't need to share everything on social media. You don't need to respond immediately to every message. You don't need to be constantly available for endless phone conversations. You'll see how, little by little, people, especially men, become more curious about you. They'll want to know more, they'll ask more, and most importantly, they'll think about you more. Because what we cannot have completely is what we desire most. What we cannot fully decipher is what intrigues us most. And the woman who masters the art of silence and mystery is, precisely, the one who becomes unforgettable. And that's what we'll talk about in the next point. Setting clear boundaries is what makes a man truly miss you. This is a paradox that few women understand, but, once implemented, completely transforms the dynamic of any relationship. Many women are afraid to set boundaries for fear of losing someone, without realizing that it's precisely the lack of boundaries that makes them lose them. Louise Hay teaches us one of the deepest truths about human relationships. The way we treat others is a direct reflection of how we treat ourselves. When you allow behaviors that hurt you, that make you feel less, that drain your energy or undermine your dignity, you're sending an extremely powerful message, both to yourself and to the other. You don't value yourself enough. Boundaries are not walls we build to keep others away. They are doors that determine who can enter and under what conditions. A healthy boundary is not an aggressive ultimatum. It's a clear statement of your needs, values, and standards. It's saying, I appreciate you, I enjoy your company, but this is what I need to feel respected in this relationship. And here's the truth that few women fully understand. Men deeply respect women who have clear standards. Contrary to popular belief, a man doesn't run from a woman who knows what she wants and what she's not willing to accept. A man who isn't aligned with those values might run, but that's not the man you want in your life anyway. When you know what you deserve and won't accept less, you become someone worth making an effort for. You become a prize, not an option. You become someone who is valued precisely because she values herself first. Think about the last time you allowed someone to treat you in a way that didn't make you feel good. Maybe it was a hurtful comment you let slide to not make a scene. Maybe it was a last-minute cancellation you accepted with a smile despite having organized your entire schedule for that meeting. Maybe it was simply a lack of consideration you ignored because that's how he is, or I don't want to seem too demanding. How did you feel afterward? If you're honest with yourself, you probably felt small, insignificant, less valuable. You might have even felt resentment toward that person, but also toward yourself for not having defended your needs. And the worst part is that the other person probably didn't even realize the impact of their actions because you didn't express your boundaries. Louise constantly reminds us that we are responsible for our experiences. This means something deeply powerful. If we allow certain behaviors, they will continue to occur. Not because the other person is inherently bad, but because we've indirectly communicated to them that those behaviors are acceptable. But when we establish healthy boundaries, we create space for relationships that nourish us instead of draining us. This doesn't mean you should become rigid, inflexible, or demanding. Healthy boundaries have nothing to do with controlling the other. They have to do with honoring yourself. And paradoxically, when you honor yourself, you inspire others to do so as well. Do this transformative exercise. Identify 3 behaviors you've tolerated in your relationships, but that really don't make you feel respected or valued. It could be that they only call you at the last minute, that they don't keep their promises, that they talk about other women inappropriately in front of you, that they ignore your messages for days only to reappear as if nothing happened, or any other situation that resonates with you. Now decide what your response will be the next time it happens. You don't need a big speech or a dramatic confrontation. Sometimes the most powerful boundary is simply silently withdrawing from situations that don't honor you. Other times, it's calmly but firmly expressing, "I prefer you let me know in advance if we're going to meet so I can organize my day," or "When this happens, I feel this way, and I need that to change if we're going to continue getting to know each other." Practice these responses in front of the mirror if necessary. Visualize yourself maintaining your stance with calm and dignity. And remember, you're not doing this to manipulate or control anyone. You're doing it because you love and respect yourself. Repeat this affirmation daily. My boundaries are acts of self-love. By respecting myself, I teach others how to treat me. I deserve relationships that honor my needs and values. I'm willing to walk away from what doesn't nourish me. Have you noticed that the people you respect most are generally those who have clear boundaries? It's not a coincidence. Boundaries create respect, and respect is the foundation of any healthy and lasting relationship. The surprising thing is that when you establish clear boundaries, you not only gain respect, but you create a space of absence. And it's in that space where longing is born. When a man knows he can't have you on his terms but on terms of mutual respect, he begins to value every moment with you in a completely different way. When he knows that if he crosses a certain line, you will walk away, each interaction acquires a new level of importance. You're no longer a certainty. You're a possibility that must be honored. You're not a safe harbor for careless behaviors. You're someone whose presence must be constantly earned. And when you're not there, when you walk away because your boundaries haven't been respected, that absence is deeply felt. He misses you not for what you do for him, but for how you make him feel, valued for having earned a place in the life of someone who values herself enough to walk away from what doesn't honor her. This level of self-respect is irresistibly attractive, and that's what we'll talk about in the next point. When you develop an authentic connection with yourself, men feel it and miss you for much deeper reasons. This is the final level, the one that really changes not only how others see you, but how you see yourself. Louise Hay has always emphasized that self-love is the greatest gift we can give ourselves. This isn't just a pretty phrase, it's a transformative truth. When you truly connect with your essence, when you accept yourself with your light and shadows, when you make peace with your past, when you become your own best friend and confidant, something extraordinary happens. You no longer seek in others what you can give yourself. You no longer need constant validation because you validate yourself from within. You no longer fear loneliness because you enjoy your own company. You no longer cling to relationships that diminish you because you know that being alone is infinitely better than being poorly accompanied. This authenticity, this fullness, this inner peace is irresistible. And I don't mean irresistible in a superficial or strategic sense. It's not about techniques or strategies to catch someone. It's about a genuine energy that others can feel. Men especially have a radar for detecting when a woman is at peace with herself, when she doesn't desperately need their approval or attention to feel complete. And that peace is magnetic. Think about the women you know who seem to naturally attract admiration and respect. It's not just physical beauty, it's not just intelligence or professional achievements, it's a more subtle quality. They're comfortable in their own skin. They don't apologize for who they are. They don't try to be more or less to please others. They don't seek constant approval. They simply are in their purest and most authentic expression. Louise tells us a deeply powerful truth. Every thought we think is creating our future. When your thoughts about yourself are full of criticism, doubt, constant comparison with others, you're creating a future where you attract relationships that reinforce that same criticism, doubt, and comparison. But when your thoughts about yourself are full of love, acceptance, compassion, recognition of your strengths, and gentleness toward your areas of growth, you create a future where you attract that same love, acceptance, and recognition from others. Have you noticed how sometimes after spending time alone, connecting with yourself, cultivating your interests, nurturing your well-being, you return to the social world with a completely different energy? Suddenly, people feel more attracted to you, more interested in what you have to say, more intrigued by your presence. It's not a coincidence. It's the outward reflection of your inner state. Here's a transformative exercise that, if practiced consistently, will change your relationship with yourself and, by extension, all your external relationships. Every morning, dedicate 5 minutes to looking at yourself in the mirror. Not to criticize or analyze, but to connect. Look into your eyes, those eyes that have seen so much, that have cried and shined, that have reflected pain and joy. And tell yourself out loud, I love you exactly as you are, with your strengths and your areas of growth. I am learning to know you better each day. I am with you, not against you. I am with you always. At first it may feel uncomfortable, even artificial. You might feel resistance. Your critical mind might try to sabotage the exercise with thoughts like, this is ridiculous, or I'm not being honest with myself. That's normal. It's just the echo of years of disconnection from yourself, of constant criticism, of seeking external validation. But over time, you'll begin to feel a genuine connection with yourself. You'll begin to see your reflection with new eyes, eyes of love and acceptance instead of criticism and judgment. And that new view of yourself will begin to be reflected in how others see and treat you. And repeat this affirmation throughout the day, especially in moments of doubt, or when you feel tempted to compromise your values or boundaries for fear of losing someone. I am complete by myself. My worth doesn't depend on external validation. I attract relationships that complement my life, not complete it. Don't forget to activate the notification bell to receive more content that will help you transform your relationship with yourself and, consequently, all your relationships. What happens when you reach this level of connection with yourself is truly extraordinary. You no longer cling to relationships for fear of loneliness, because you've discovered that loneliness isn't as fearful as you thought. In fact, it can be deeply nourishing. You no longer tolerate less than you deserve for fear of rejection, because you've learned that the only rejection that truly hurts is the rejection of yourself. You become a magnetic being, not because you seek to be, but because you are authentic. Not because you implement techniques or strategies, but because you vibrate at a frequency of fullness that naturally attracts those who resonate with it. And here's the most powerful truth of all. When a man relates to a woman who is at this level of connection with herself, he misses her in a completely different way when she's not there. It's not a superficial longing based on habit, comfort, or what she does for him. It's a deep longing for the way he feels when he's with her, seen, accepted, inspired to be his best version. He misses her presence not as one misses an object that provides pleasure, but as one misses a source of light that illuminates parts of oneself that had remained in shadows. He misses the energy she brings, not what he can get from her. This is the fundamental difference between being desired and being valued, between being an option and being a priority, between being someone who is momentarily pursued and someone who is consciously chosen again and again. If you've made it this far, there's something you already know in your heart. The real power isn't in making someone miss you. The real power is in becoming someone who doesn't need to be missed to feel complete, but who precisely because of that is unforgettable. The path we've traveled together today is profound. We've discovered that when you stop chasing, when you prioritize your needs, when you cultivate mystery, when you establish clear boundaries, and finally, when you develop an authentic connection with yourself, you not only change the dynamic of your relationships, but you transform your entire life. Louise Hay has taught us that the point of power is always in the present moment. You don't need to wait for someone to choose you to feel valuable. You don't need someone to miss you to know you're unforgettable. Your power is here now in the decisions you make, in the way you talk to yourself, in the love you give yourself. I want you to do something powerful right now. Write in the comments, I choose to be a woman who loves, respects and prioritizes herself. I choose to be unforgettable for my authenticity, not for my availability. This isn't just a comment, it's a declaration to the universe of the woman you're choosing to be from today onward. And if this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to this channel, activate the notification bell, and share this video with that friend who you know needs to hear it. Together we're creating a community of women who know their worth and who, from that place of personal power, attract relationships that celebrate them instead of relationships that diminish them. Remember, it's not about techniques to make a man miss you. It's about becoming someone who, whether in your life or not, has left an indelible mark. Because when you're authentic, when you love yourself completely, you not only change your relationships, you change the world.